Just talk about the guys and how pleased I am with them, with all the guys this whole spring. So obviously starting with I guess you call them the three horses with Marfa Man, Uno, and my man Pace. With both of those guys being out, man, they've been awesome in the classroom. Really took their mental game to a whole new level. We're really pushing these guys that's been able to come out and practice. And then the Marfa man, he just been unbelievable this whole spring. I think he took a gigantic step in his game, his leadership. He was more vocal. And then you have Tristan Rigby, walk-on guy, and Kevin McNeil, who's a walk-on. Then we had, Dominique Thomas, who came here in January. All three of those guys walk-on. Well, all four, because you have Wise Seeger. And those guys, they took advantage of the opportunity that was presented with those other two guys that was out this spring. And them guys, they did the best job that they could, and I was very pleased with that. We still have a long way to go before we can be the unit that we want to be this upcoming season. And they took the challenge, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this gets ready phase translate over to our transformation phase. But overall, really just pleased with the guys. They came and worked hard each and every day. They didn't complain. I really tried to stress them and strain them and really push them to their limits to get the best. And just, what I told those guys, greatness, you have coaches talk about that, but at the end of the day, it has to come from within yourself. And that was my message to those guys. To be great, you have to be ready to do things that other people are not ready to do. Those guys understand that, and like I said, I'm just looking forward to these guys carrying this momentum that they've built in the spring over to the summertime and getting ready for fall camp. So, other than that, man, I'm, like I said, really pleased with all my guys that came and put their hard hat on and went to work this spring and did what they needed to do to get better as an individual.
So you have two guys that have proven they can be the man in Will and Kobe.
Yeah.
You have a third coming along. You probably think could probably be the guy too. So when fall starts, do you want one guy to separate and be the man, or do you want that three-headed monster?
I mean, we want the three-headed, and then, we're going to have Keith Adams that's going to come here later in the summertime. But, those three guys, man, you can put them on any team in America and they can go start. I mean, when you're talking about separation, I mean, it's going to be very slim because we, as an offensive staff, we feel very comfortable putting any of those guys in there and going in there and getting the job done. And have all the confidence in the world in each and every one of them. Now, all three of them bring something totally different to the table, which is what you like as a running backs coach, because every running back is different. But, as far as a huge separation, I wouldn't say it's going to be a big gap between those guys. And, the thing that I love about all three of them, that they love each other. They want to see each other be successful. And that's very rare that you find in college football nowadays when you have three guys that we have here on our roster that can literally, like I say, go on any other program and be the starter. But those guys really be happy for each other's success. So, like I said, I don't see where it's going to be a gigantic gap. Like I say, it might be a slim one, but at the end of the day, all three of those guys going to play. The great thing is we was able to get the Marfa man. We got, obviously we still have the spring game, but getting him through this spring, as healthy as we can, considering that, he's going to have a heavier load than what he done had in the past. So far we've been on the right end of that. But like I said, I would feel confident in any of those guys going out there and playing and getting the job done. And as a coach, it put a lot of strain and pressure on you because all three of those guys can go out and be successful. But at the end of the day, you can only have one that go out there. So we just have to get our rotation right, and that just falls on me and the offensive staff and make sure that we have the right personnel when we need it.
Coach, how has Marfa been with his pass catching, his pass protection this spring?
Oh, man, Marfa, man, got some of the best hands on the team, honestly. I mean, he showed that last year to be the size that he is. I mean, he has great hands, has great feet, got power, got speed. I mean, he's almost like a combo, honestly. I mean, because he can catch the ball, he can run the ball, he can pass pro. I mean, he can do it all. He just took his game to a whole new level from a mental aspect, from a vocal aspect. And really, challenge the younger guys to step up and put their best foot forward too. So, like I said, man, I just really been pleased with him. And, I mean, he comes in every day, smile on his face. I mean, he brighten up our room each and every day that he comes in. And man, that's what you love as a coach. But like I said, man, he can do it all. He really can.
When you say he's taking a step mentally, specifically what areas are you saying?
Well, I mean, when you talk about, the run game, you understanding, who the offensive line going to, understanding, you know, okay, who they going to and who's gonna be the free guy. Well, mentally, if I know who's gonna be the free guy, you know, the terms I use, you got to have a toolbox, right? You know, so you got to have a tool ready for that guy whenever he comes up there. So that's what I talk about. And then just the pass protection, knowing who the offensive line has, knowing who you got, and then just going out there, just blocking, and then just understanding, you know, what type of rusher this guy is that comes. So, I mean, he just took his game just really to a whole new level. I would say he probably was definitely, I don't even want to say most improved because it ain't like he had a terrible spring last year, but just with the limited numbers that he had this past season, he just really, you know, from his standpoint, gained a ton of confidence going into the summer.
CJ, for this offensive staff, as y'all tried to sort of get a feel for what y'all want to do, how much of the injuries, not just a running back, but across the whole offense, taken away from what y'all would ordinarily like to do?
Well, from our offensive staff, I think Coach Street did an awesome job of, you know, getting our installs, the stuff that we want to get done, and the stuff that we wanted to rep, the stuff that we really gonna rep, you know, come September and stuff like that. We was able to get all that stuff in. Obviously, you know, we didn't have our full all our people out there, so you know, it's still some nuances that we was able to hold back, and you know, once those guys get back, we'll be ready to rep those plays. But for the most part, you know, we was really able to install it. But that's the beauty of this sport, is that, you know, you can't hold back on your install, because each and every guy got to be ready to go. And that's kind of what I preach to my guys, that, you know, we don't want to change our game plan because, let's say, Will Shipley go down and then only have Kobe and the Marfa man. You know, those guys got to be able to go in there and execute the whole game plan. So that's the thing that you try to challenge each and every player as an offensive guy, because literally you're always one play away from being a starter. So if you have that mindset, then I think your offensive playbook can kind of stay wide open.
There's a lot of things you could call Phil, but why the Marfa man?
You know what? I can't even take credit for that one. I got to get that one to my good friend, Coach Robbie Caldwell. He just, for some reason, he just started calling him the Marfa man, and it kind of does stuck. So, you know, I kind of got a nickname for all of them right now. You know, got, you know, Marfa man. You got Uno. Only one that ain't really got one is really Kobe. I just call him Kobe. You got Tristan Rigby, call him Red. Wise Seeger, just call him Wise. Dominique, just call him Quadzilla. You know, I'm pretty sure y'all have seen him. His quads is huge. And then Kevin McNeil, we just call him Working Man Kev. You know, so, and then I just got to come up with Keith Adams. I just haven't been around him and been on the practice field with him to kind of get a nickname for him yet. So I just try to have fun with those guys. So it's kind of.
Coach, speaking of Coach Caldwell,
Yeah.
Thomas Austin came in with you in 2006, blocked for you for 4 years. What's it like coaching with him now, with the bonds you have and that relationship?
Man, it's been awesome having Coach Austin right there by my side, and he understands. Obviously, he got his coaching career started before me, so I'm, you know, leaning on him, especially in the pass game and in the run game. And the good thing is that we are able to speak the same lingo because he understands, you know how we kind of see it from the running back view, and then kind of we understand kind of what they're looking at up front. So, you know, if we're on the same page as a unit from the running back standpoint, I think we can be very successful. But there's, like I said, still a ton of work that has to be put in. But man, he done came in and done a phenomenal job with the offensive line, just from a communication standpoint. You know, he's young, you know, very energetic, very demanding, and I think the guys respect him for that. Got a ton of knowledge, so. You know, to me, I mean, I know he ain't been in a while, but man, he's going to be one of the best. To me, he's the best offensive line coach in the country. But he's, you know, from the outside world, I know he still has a lot, you know, that he want to get better at. So I'm glad to be going on this journey along with him.
CJ, you just mentioned a few minutes ago about how those running backs all get along in the way
Yeah.
that they are, and has that been a little freeing this year now for you, with to not have to deal with as many personalities and just focus on ball?
No,
and
man,
coaching?
I love dealing with personalities. You know, it's a challenge. You know, doing ball, that's the fun. That's the, you know, I ain't gonna say super easy, but it's not as, you know, stressful. You know, you love to deal with different personalities, see what guys go through each and every day, seeing how you can help them to be better as an individual. You know, being a good citizen and all that stuff. So, you know, and all these guys that's in my room now, they all have their own personalities that I have to deal with. So, I love the challenge each and every day. You know, to deal with a different personality, because I know how to push each and every person button in my room, and I know what kind of get them going, and that's the beauty of a coach, that you have to know what buttons to push with each and every guy in your room to get them ready to go play. So, and I kind of have a good feel of how to get all those guys ready to go rock and roll.
CJ, what did you like what you saw from Keith Adams as a prospect? And you're just hoping to see from him when he arrives this summer.
Man, he's tough. Obviously, we all know his dad played linebacker here, so I'm pretty sure he has some of that, in his DNA. But man, just a fun kid to be around. Can run between the tackles. Has good speed. We see him. Very well put together. Can catch the ball. Haven't really been playing in position a long time, so he's still learning the nuances of it. So that's the good thing about it. So he's still able to grow in that area. But he's going to be huge for our room. Just a big personality. This guy thinks way beyond just football stuff that he want to do, and that's what you want. Great student. It's a lot of things that goes into it, not just from a football aspect. Like I say, obviously, we all know about his dad, and he didn't let that get to him, because sometimes kids that father that played at the school, that can be a lot of pressure. But man, he was even killed. He was like, I want to set my own path. I know my dad played there, and people might try to compare us and want me to go down his same path, but I got my own journey set out for me. So once he told me that, I said, oh, this the guy, let's go.
At what point this offseason do you expect to get Will and Cobley back full speed? What's the timeline on that?
Yeah, I don't know the timeline on it, honestly. Whenever I told them guys, whenever they're ready to rock and roll, you just let me know, and we'll be ready. We'll be sitting here waiting for you to return. The biggest thing with both of those, obviously, is just getting back, fully healthy. But I don't want to sit here and put a timeline on it and then something happens, because you just never know what can happen in a rehab session. So whenever they're ready to come back, I'm gonna be sitting right in my room waiting for them, and ready to hug their neck and get them out on the practice field and yell at them a little bit.
Christian was telling us a while back that one of his biggest learning experiences has been learning how to balance loving his guys with challenging them.
Yep.
Can you speak to that from your end? Has that been a learning experience for you, or you feel like you're more natural at sort of learning how to balance those?
You always learning that, but I kind of got a good feel knowing how to challenge those guys and knowing when to love up on them. That's something that I kind of learned as a player from some coaches that I had, kind of seeing how they done it, and then kind of just sat back and watched how other coaches done it, and kind of just took it from there, and then just really just put my own spin on it. But I think I got a good feel for it. Those guys know I'm not a huge yeller. But they know when coach serious, he's serious. But then also at the same time, I love up on them. Just like I told them, man, they've done a great job this spring. So guess what? My wallet's gonna probably shrink a little bit, because I'm gonna reward those guys, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Rewarding your guys for coming out and putting everything they got into a spring practice, and just showing your appreciation for them. A lot of guys, complain and do this and that, but these guys, they didn't complain. So I'm gonna reward them and, take them somewhere, eat maybe, and have a good time. Let them run a build up, I guess you call it.
Shipley's been able to get out here a little bit, obviously, but how hard has it been for him, to not be out here?
Oh man, you see it in his face. He's just a kid that just loves the game of football, loves to compete. So this been a challenge for him, but like I sat there and told him, man, at the end of the day, you just got to get well, and when you're ready to return, we'll be waiting for you. But man, he loved being on the grass. He loved competition, and as a coach, that's the stuff that you love. You see, I see it every day in his eyes that he'd rather be practicing than doing that stuff. And he's able to come and do some indie stuff early on in the spring, and kind of just get the juices back flowing. And he's biting at the bit to get back at him. So get back out here. So I'm gonna have to. I know come fall camp, I'm gonna have to hold him back, because I know he's gonna be super anxious because he's having a long little layoff. But it's gonna work out in the long run.
We saw him out here you're doing drills with the running back, trying to knock the ball.
Yeah. So I just wanted to see if he after his football career, if he was ready to jump in the coaching world. So I told him he ain't just gonna be standing around. So I just gave him something to do. But he loved that stuff. All those guys, they love doing stuff like that, pushing each other, trying to help each other out. And like I said, he's been very vocal in our room. With these young guys having the opportunity that they have in front of them, he's really been pushing them, really teaching them, but demanding. Shipley's a very demanding guy, and not in a bad way, because he the best is the standard with him. There's no lackadaisical, there's no drop off, and he's gonna push you in every aspect of your life. He even pushes me as a coach. You just can't come in there and just think you just gonna say something that he's gonna get it. He's gonna do his homework, and he's gonna know exactly what you're talking about. So you know, that's why I love waking up, because I know it's a challenge each and every day I come in there, because those guys expecting the best out of me, and they're gonna get the best. And you know, so we'll see if he got the stick in the fall. See how much he liked that part.
You've had almost 4 months to reflect and look back on the College Football Hall of Fame.
It's been 4 months.
Almost 4 months, December. Yeah, hard to believe, isn't it?
That happened.
What stood out to you about that weekend? What was your favorite part? Be it you know, a player or coach you talked to, or if you have any good Dabo stories from the weekend or from that Tuesday?
Honestly, the favorite part was just being out there with my daughter. Honestly, my baby girl, she just turned 16 last Thursday, so she was very small when I played here. You know, she was like maybe 4 years old once I got done, so she wasn't able to really grasp you know who I was. Now that she's older, you know, she'd have been, you know, with me along this journey. She always see people come up to me. She understands the whole magnitude of it now. So just getting a moment to share that with her, that was probably the special part of it. You know, and then just, you know, my family and friends out there. And then obviously I had a chance to sit down with, you know, Eric Dickerson. I mean, come on. That's one of the GOATs of our position. So to be able to sit there and talk with him, and then to go in with Darren Sproles. Me and Darren Sproles actually had the same agent, the late Gary Richard. So I knew him before him, so to be able to go in with him, man, that was awesome. And then also Tony Romo. I mean, just a funny guy. So, I mean, it was overall the whole class, man, just great individuals. And to sit up there on that stage and see their highlights and what they accomplished as an individual player, so humbling. I mean, I'm always trying to study the history of our game and history of players, and to sit there and see what some of these guys have accomplished in their careers. It was a humbling experience for me. But we had an awesome time. My family really enjoyed it, but I'll probably say being with my daughter was the highlight of that whole weekend.
CJ, other than his enormous quads,
Yeah.
what has stood out to you about
Dominique?
Thomas? Yeah.
Dominique, just how quickly he was able to come in, honestly, and really learn our playbook and learn our offense. I mean, he got here in January. That kid is a grinder. He stays in the fan room. I mean, he get up here super early, pretty much before anybody get in the building. He take pride in his work, and he want to be a perfectionist. You know, he want to get better as a player, and that's what I love about him. He just came in, put the blinders on, and went to work, and really was able to establish himself as a good player for us. So, man, it was great having him come in this spring to take some load off the Marfa man, just because how quickly he was able to pick it up. But he's still learning. He's still got a long way to go. But man, he's a great addition to our room. Got a great personality. The guys love him because I mean that's always the number one thing. You know, how do you mesh with the guys that's already in the room? You never know how that's gonna work out. You know, because I know how those guys are. You know, so when you bring in somebody new, you know how well are they gonna mesh? But those guys, they embrace them very well, and you know he's asking the right questions, very attentive in the classroom, handling his business academically. So been very pleased with him. Very surprising, like I say, for him to come in January and pick it up so quickly.
Are you looking to see what he can do in front of a big crowd over there on Saturday?
On Saturday, I mean, I tell those guys, I mean, you don't have to go out and try to be Superman. I mean, you just go out and do it. You got done this whole spring. Obviously, whatever they need to do between now and Saturday to get themselves ready to go play, that's what they need to do. And then I really just sit back and just see who can go out and play. Because obviously we're gonna have the team split, the staff split. You know, I'm gonna be on one side. He might be on my team. So if he's on my team, I'm able to communicate with him very well. But if he's not, I just got to trust that what he does learn up until that point, that it just goes out there and he can showcase his skills. So, you know, from a crowd standpoint, I don't think it shouldn't bother him because at the end of the day, like I tell the guys, it's 100 yards and 53 wide, I believe. And, you know, until guys start jumping in their pants, that's when you better get nervous. But until then, we should be fine.
Speaking of the crowd, is it crazy to see how much the crowd of the spring game has grown over the years? I mean, when you played, it was probably, what, 15,000, 20,000?
Yeah, it was a little bit. You know, that was back in the day. But it is, I mean, but that's the exciting thing about our program. We've grown so much. You know, we got some exciting players that comes and join our program, and people want to get, you know, that first-hand look at them. So to hopefully we get the 50,000 out there, and that'd be awesome to have a great crowd. This will be really the only time they'll be able to see us perform before we kick it off on Labor Day against Tech. So I'm looking forward to a great atmosphere in Death Valley. It's always great when the fans show up. Gonna be a great weather too, right?
Hope so.
Hope so. It's supposed to be some
Don't
rain.
jinx it.
It don't matter. As long as it ain't lightning, we good. We ready to play. I played in Buffalo, so we good.
Just going back to Shipley, a lot was said about his maturity, just kind of being beyond his years.
Yeah.
I mean, just last year, what do you remember in terms of how he came in and has he established himself as a leader, would you say?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when he came in, you can just see that how far mature he was from a lot of incoming freshmen. I mean, this guy came in with the right mindset. He know what he want to accomplish as a player and as a student. And I mean, whatever he put his mind to, that's what he gonna do. I mean, very smart. So coming in, learning the offense really wasn't a huge tag. Obviously, he had to learn it, but he was able to pick it up quickly. And then at the end of the day, man, Ship is he's just a competitor. I mean, we put him on this grass, man. He just turned into Uno. Just somebody totally different. But he understands it, and he know where a guy's supposed to be at. And you don't see that a lot in a lot of young guys. And like I say, I know he was gonna be better this time around just because he had a year up on his belt. So now you can see, okay, this he's almost like a junior, honestly, because he just has so much knowledge. He understands the game. Obviously, he got to get better. He knows that. We done had numerous talks about that. But this guy, he truly understands, and he wants to be great. He wants to be great. When the individual wants to be great, and you don't have to push him to be great, you got something special on your hands. So my job is just to just make sure he stay on that path and don't get in front of him, and just let him do his thing. Don't hinder him. So I'm glad to have him. I mean, he's a special talent.
Bo Collins has been out recently, but you're working at him at punt return, correct?
Bo Collins.
Bo Collins.
Yeah.
How is he doing in that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's very fearless, can catch the ball, very confident back there. I mean, that's gonna be a tough one. Who do we put up back there returning? I mean, you got Bo, you got Will Taylor, you got Will Shipley. So it's a tough competition.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll make sure that we get the right guy back there. It's gonna be fun. We do for one, both from the punt return and kick return. We do for a couple this upcoming season.
Obviously, you're a guy who did a lot. So, are you worried all about Shipley doing a lot?
From the return game?
From special teams and running back? And
No, I do a great job of managing him, and like I tell them guys, you can't play this game scared. That's my job, not to overwork him, and he does a great job communicating with me whenever he needs a breather or something. So I'm not too much concerned about him, having a workload just because I have two other guys that can go in there anytime and get the job done. So that never crossed my mind when having really with none of my guys, them having too much of a workload. Now, if he was the only guy, then yeah, now we're talking something totally different. But with us having other guys in that room that can go in there and get the job done, not concerned about that. Really, when you look at all those guys I have, Phil, I got Kobe back there that does kick return. Phil does kick return. So I feel comfortable with any of those guys that can go back there and get the job done if you need a breather. So from a workload standpoint, he should be fine. Now I'm gonna work his tail in fall camp. I done gave him and Kobe. They had their little vacation. Come fall camp, I'm gonna work their tail. And then put the Muffin Man on a little summer vacation for a little bit, a little reward. But now I'm just so juiced up. I'm so pumped. Just so excited about the challenge that's in front of us. Like I said, these guys want to be awesome. They want to be great, and I'm looking forward to going down this journey with them this upcoming season. So all I can tell you is buckle up.
TJ, if anybody's got one.
I think that's a good way to end it.
Yep, good way to end it. Thank you, Coach.